Matt here with Keeping It YYC. Today we're joined by Tanya Lee with Body Art Motion. How are you today, Tanya?
I'm doing fabulous, Matt. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for asking. We'll get right into it and we'll have you tell us a little bit about your business.
Thank you. Body Art Motion was developed in 1998, so we're a couple decades in now. I started it out of my living room as a weight management and lifestyle consultancy.
Ooh.
Yes. And it took off actually faster than I thought. So within a year, I had a brick and mortar studio and we had full movement classes and the coaching and consulting as well, and started creating a team of trainers, and just really took off. And I was really young at that time. I think I was 22 or 23. And yeah, so it was a bit much for me. So in 2004, I took a sabbatical and just had to step away for a bit and do some more research and think, okay, if I'm actually going to have a successful business, I want to know what I stand for and what my purpose is. So I took a couple of years off to research and study some different philosophies and movement arts, and then came back to Calgary in 2007 and have been here ever since, serving the local community.
Beautiful. That's quite a journey.
And that's the summary. There's a lot more detail in there. But right now, it's actually morphed more into a dance-based school, and it just took on a life of its own. And I feel a lot of people who are sole proprietors out there understand, what you're passionate about is what other people are going to be passionate about. So as I became more passionate and studied different art forms, that's what started to step forward in my business more clearly. So now belly dance has been the theme for the last 5 years. So we've created quite a community here in Calgary. We have about 80 regular students and classes every night of the week. And I really miss dancing with everybody. And it's hard right now because our dance form is based on interaction with each other. So even though we're able to do videos and online content during the COVID lockdown, it's been challenging because we're not in the same room together interacting. So yeah.
Yeah, the energy is different not being in the same room. That's for
yeah, sure. And a big part of the movement practice is about interacting with each other.
Mm-hmm.
So, and there is skill development that you can do on your own, and it's a great workout, and everybody's doing awesome doing their practice at home, but we miss dancing with each other. Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm. So you're already mentioning a little bit of it. What have you been doing to adapt in this current environment?
Well, I have learned a lot about producing videos. So
we don't know anything about that.
No.
We've learned nothing.
Yeah, nothing. Yeah, times are definitely changing. And so my first plan of action was to keep classes going, and started producing pre-recorded videos instead of a live Zoom class. Just for dance, the lag with the music and Zoom is really frustrating. So instead of going that route, I decided to do pre-recorded videos, which has another bonus because now I have a library of instructional videos.
Oh, that is for the future.
Yeah, I produced 50 videos in 3 months, which was quite the feat. Yeah. Everyone's like, oh, it's great to be at home and take time off and just relax. And I'm like, what? I'm working my butt off over here. Yeah. So that was interesting to adapt. And I was talking to some of my colleagues and fellow teachers, and you're used to teaching to a room of people and getting that feedback and that interaction. So it was a bit of troubleshooting, I guess would be the word for it, to teach to a camera without anybody on the other side and just pretend that they're there. And luckily I have 25 years of experience, so I can kind of intuit the questions that would be asked and how to modify for all levels without being able to actually see the students in the class. So that's what I've been doing to adapt so far.
It's very awkward talking to nobody though, isn't it? Just looking into a lens.
I know.
How do I look? How do I look?
And I thought at some point I was actually going crazy. And I was thinking about that movie with Tom Hanks when he's stranded on the island. What movie is that?
Castaway?
Castaway, yes. And he made the volleyball.
Yeah.
Wilson. Wilson was the
Wilson!
yes. So I kind of had a little bit of a Wilson on the back of my video camera. So I could, and pictures of my students, and I would like talk to them and, whatever you need to do to, still keep the quality good and still make it feel like you're connecting with your students. Otherwise, it just feels empty,
Yeah, that's actually a great idea. I didn't try that because when shooting some videos, I would look at the camera and I get this glazed over look in my eyes because I'm looking into nothing. So it just feels so awkward. You're not, I don't know, it's very strange.
So even in these Zoom videos, because I have my webcam up here and you're right here, but I'm talking to you in your eyes, but I'm like, should I be talking to the camera? Does that look like I'm looking at you more than if I'm looking at you to talk to? Yeah.
I'm not sure. I always just look at the person because I feel more natural that way. If I look into the camera, I just don't know what's going to happen. So
yeah, strange times. Yeah.
So moving on, my next question is, what can people do right now to support their local businesses?
What can people do?
Yeah, what can people in Calgary, an area right now, do in general to support their local businesses here?
Well, what I've noticed in my own community and in the dance community and fitness and movements industry is that students are now offered to be able to take classes with anybody around the globe. So why would you take a class with your local dance or fitness instructor when you can take classes from anybody around the globe? So there's an opportunity to do that right now, which is great for study, but I've been focusing mostly on my own community that I already have established rather than reaching out to get students globally. I think that would be in my own industry, just remembering how do I put that? Remembering what it felt like to be in the class with your local instructor and to still feed and stay connected with that community. I guess I'm diverting your question right now back into what I'm doing to help keep my community together while this is going on.
Yeah.
Is focusing on, remaining connected while we can't be face to face. And why would somebody come take my class when they can go take somebody else's class? Because we have a community here in Calgary, and it's more than studying with an instructor, but it's about connecting with a community that is local.
Absolutely. It's about a community connecting with your neighbors. These are our neighbors here.
Yeah, exactly. And I remember I actually took a business course here a couple of years ago through Momentum.
Okay.
And when it came down to it, it was an excellent course. It was a 6-month crash course on opening your own business or moving your current business forward. And one of the epic points in that program for me is I sat down, you had a one-on-one mentor, and I had 2 options. One was either to be an international instructor, and because I've published books as well, and I could go on tour and I could just teach around the world, or I could stay and just focus on building a community here locally. And when I was presented with those 2 options, it actually wasn't too hard to decide, whereas before I thought it was a challenging decision, but I was like, one sounds very lonely. And and now I've traveled and I've done my studying and I want to stay. Calgary's my home, and I just want to build a family here and build a community here. So that was a higher value for me than to tour the world performing and teaching. Yeah.
Well, there's definitely excitement involved with that option, touring the world. Yeah. That is an exciting option. However, there is a lot of draw to Calgary and that home feeling. in Calgary.
Yeah. And even within our own, the Body Art Motion community that we've created, we have so many entrepreneurs and artisans in our own community that it almost we're sustaining one another. So we have our private group on Facebook. We have, like Casey was saying earlier about the skincare products that you can find. I have one of the women that's been with me for almost 20 years now has her own skincare company, Twisted Sisters, and she's a biologist and a chemist, and she makes the most amazing, and she supplies our whole team with all their skincare. And when we have a performance, she hand makes our makeup for us. And I love it because I'm like super sensitive redhead, and she uses all natural products, and it's better than anything I could buy from the big stores.
Yeah, that's amazing to just keep it all together.
Yes, and a big tradition with our dance form, it's a belly dance, is that it's an art. The performance is an art where you actually make your own costumes, you make your own jewelry, you do your own make. Like it's a full-on art form. And we have Lunacy Adornments is another one in our crew who makes all of our jewelry. So if you're not artistic and you need in that way and you need a costume, you just go to her and she'll like custom make you all your extravagant jewelry. And yeah, it's amazing.
Wow, that's awesome. So my last question for you is, do you have any tips and tricks that you can share with people in relation to your expertise?
Keep moving.
That's it? Mic drop?
Keep moving. Mic drop. I think a lot of us are getting, being in lockdown, especially during the colder months, we cannot leave our house for days. And actually, when you think about it, how much movement have we done rather than going from this chair to that chair to this couch to that bed to this kitchen? And we're going through a lot of emotions right now. There's so much change in the world. There's so many things going on that if we don't move, those emotions just sit in the body. And I find that would be the one thing that I would put out there and just say, keep moving, keep breathing, keep everything moving through your body, because we're in an unknown time right now, and really helps. Move it or lose it.
Well, that's great advice, because I find working from home, it is so easy to sometimes go days without even leaving your home, which is ridiculous.
So, right? And the easiest thing too is just put on the shoes and go out the door, go for a 5-minute walk and come back in again. Right? It doesn't even take a lot of anything. And or if you're more gung-ho, you get up and do a couple squats, or you or you lift your girlfriend up over your head a couple times, or but yeah, just and getting outside too. We forget that we're actually allowed to go outside.
Yeah, it's been quite beautiful a lot of the summer too. So
I remember in the dead of winter, I was yearning for the rain. I'm like, I miss the rain. I miss the smell of the rain. I miss the sound of the rain. And the last couple of weeks, I'm like, okay, enough rain. For like some sun, please. Yeah.
Cool. So that's actually all the questions that I had prepared for you. That was really awesome. Really appreciate you taking the time to join us, Tanya. We do ask that you end the interview for us by looking in the camera and stating your name along with your business name, and asking the people that are watching to keep it local, keep it YYC.
Okay, here I go. Tanya Lee, Body Art Motion, keep it local, keep it YYC.